Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today for yet another live session for Open Branding Month. As you guys might know by now, since we've been doing this since the beginning of November, we couldn't have obviously our physical event for Rebels and Rulers. So instead we decided to do this, let's say, daily dose of branding, where we have the free master classes every day. And then we also do the live Q&As with the speakers that have so kindly agreed to join us. So far, we've had a lot of great ones. And today actually marks kind of a special day, because here in Romania, where Rebels and Rulers is from, it's a Great Union Day. So it's a festivity that's very similar, I would say, to what the 4th of July is for Americans, to be completely honest. So it's kind of a big deal. There are flags all over the place. And of course, given the fact that it kind of marks this, let's say, revolutionary moment in our history, we wanted to bring in two of our kind of favorite revolutionaries, I would say, in the industry, who are with us here today. They're entrepreneurs. They're kind of doing their own thing, and we've always admired their ability to, I don't know, build this internal culture that has sustained every crazy idea that they've had and every incredible step that they've taken. So I'd like for everyone to really welcome Hans and Victor. So if you guys don't know, Hans is the founder and CEO of Massive Music, and then Victor is the CEO of Media Monks and also executive director at S4 Capital Group as of, I would say, recently, but I guess it's not that recent anymore. So welcome, guys. Thank you for being here. Really, I greatly appreciate it. Now I have my questions for the guys, as always, but I do invite anyone and everyone to submit whatever questions they have along the way. These guys definitely have a lot to say, and they're also friends. I should I should package this properly by saying that they're also very good friends. So there's another reason why they're here together today, because I think it's going to make for an incredible discussion. But should you have any questions, write them to me on the Q&A on Zoom, or use the comment feature, obviously, on Facebook if you want, and then I'll be sure to bring in your questions as often as I can during the conversation. So other than that, ready? We're ready?
Can you tell us a little bit more about what happened in 1918?
I think that's not the point of this. That's not the point of this conversation. If you want, you can Google it afterwards. So as you guys can see, this is basically how this conversation is going to go. No, but seriously, so let's talk about this for a second, because like I said, I wanted to focus this on not just entrepreneurship and loyalty, but also the idea of revolution in the world of branding. So things that are really out of the box, that are really unexpected. And so I have to ask, just to kind of lay the foundation and have everybody get a sense of who you are and how each of you think. When I say the word revolution, what is it that you think of in the context of our industry? Victor, do you want to start?
Well, let's start with Hans. He's in the game. He started earlier than me.
But be careful for that, because I already saw your answers, because we have a shared document. So I can do your answer now, Victor.
I never stick to the notes that are being written for me. So let's go for it. No. Hans started earlier than me. So go for it.
Yes. Now, of course, I would like to pull that a little towards my business and the thing I'm doing, and that is music. And so I'm really happy that music is not only a soundtrack to your campaign anymore, but is a real strategic feature for brands to communicate, and to make a difference. And that happened only, I would say, like the last couple of years, quite intensely. Mm-hmm. And I'm really happy that it happened, of course, because it's what we do.
Do you believe you had a key role in that happening?
No, I can say that we, for example, sonic branding is one of the things we do, and we do that for 12 years now, since 2008. So yeah, we were definitely one of the first to really focus on that, and to help brands, get their voice, and what does a brand sound like is in fact what we do when we do sonic branding for a brand. So make put music in their corporate identity. And so that's one of the things that we do that really changed the game.
Okay. And Victor, how about you? Revolution?
Well, the revolution in the industry is digital. It still is, and it's still what the old agencies are struggling with. So it started 25 years ago with the first digital agencies that popped up, and the mergers that were all merged into the big holdings. Now it's Accenture and Deloitte and the consultancies coming into the digital space. E-commerce obviously is super important, and I believe that the next revolution is to combine all those things. So you don't see brand and e-commerce as separate things, and also digital is not a separate thing. You don't buy a digital product or something like that. It is digital sits in everything. So the next revolution in our industry is that I believe that every single board of whatever company you have needs to have a chief technology officer in the board, because everything is digital. A bank is digital. Every single product has a large digital component to it. If it's around first-party data or it's around e-commerce. So all of the brands in the world will become digital. So digital has been a disruptor, or it has been a revolution in the digital industry, in the advertising industry, but it will have a way bigger impact than that in the years to come.
And here some people might think that we've already gotten to the point where digital is understood, that it's part of everything, but it sounds like you still feel we have quite a ways to go.
I got a question yesterday from a newspaper that asked, how does the post-digital world looks like? And I jokingly said that probably because you work at a newspaper, you hope that there is a post-digital world and that paper starts to become more important again. Sometimes I feel like advertising agencies feel the same, like we have been fighting digital since 20 years. But no, it's not going away. There's no post-digital world. If there's a post-digital world, it means that everything became digital. That's my opinion about it. I do understand that they're referring to the social media behavior and so on, and there will be better guidelines and I think people will adapt to the fact, if everything is digital, that you also have moments that you're not on your phone or talking in a screen, that I think we all have been doing since the mid-March for multiple hours per day.
And this must be a pretty big deal for you, Hans, no? I mean, the fact that sound is becoming increasingly more important. I don't mean sound just in the sense of music or compositions, but also voice and all of these things that come with this transformation that Victor is talking about. That means that it increases your role in this entire thing. Yeah,
definitely. The UX sounds and voice, of course, are getting more and more important, but also, because of the digital era now, it is more difficult for brands to stand out, in fact, and audio is one of the good things that you can use for that to make yourself noticed.
Do you feel like more and more clients or brands are understand this? They come to you knowing that this is one of their chances? Absolutely.
Yeah. No, we're noticing it every day. Also today when we got a new client. No.
The great union day.
No, but no, it's really true. And also in this COVID area, I mean, when there, especially in the beginning, there were hardly any campaigns. You know, brands couldn't really invest in short campaigns, so they decided to invest in long-term strategy for their brand.
Ah, okay.
That really paid out for us because, for example, the Sonic branding thing that we do is sort of, you know, everybody's talking about it and maybe wanted to do it or already did it. Yeah, and COVID really gave that a push because, yeah, this is a perfect time to invest in long term and invest in the sign of the brand.
Okay, so one more question before I go into kind of you guys as leaders and as entrepreneurs. But Victor, we've been talking about digital transformation for what feels like forever, to be completely honest.
Yes.
Do you feel that after this year, let's say, that it's finally, like we finally made it to a certain extent on a larger scale, or do you still feel like we're heavily behind?
Some do, some don't. So before everybody started speaking about digital transformation, a lot of companies digital transformed already. Mm-hmm. Or if you look at the top 25 brands, I think number 1 to 5 are digital brands. So they didn't transform, that it was digitally built. Okay. There's been a time that digital transformation was predominantly done on paper. So there were big reports of the consultancies written about what you need to do. Mm-hmm. I have seen the Deloitte's personalization at scale document, I think at least 15 times in my life with different clients. And then 3 years later, somebody pulls it out and said, we really should do something about with personalized content. So that's where we come in. What COVID did, besides a lot of negative stuff, obviously for people's families, and I think for both of our companies internally, but what they've done well for the digital industry is that those enormous documents were pulled out and said, how can we do something in the coming months or in the coming weeks? So we brought brands to e-com within a period of 6 to 10 weeks, which probably needed to have been done within the last 5 years. So that speeded up a lot. If brands didn't move into digital at this moment, still, if they're still discussing if it's important, there's not a bright future for that brand. If you don't have a solid another digital strategy, if you execute it on it, because the time of talking about it and all the discussions that take place on does it cannibalize on our normal business or on retail or on something like that, that's over. That talk is done. Okay.
So I think that kind of lays the foundation of, let's say, where you guys are at in terms of what you do, in case there are people here that that don't necessarily know what that is. But before I ask my next question, Hans, how long has it been since you founded Massive Music?
20 years ago, exactly.
20 years. And Victor, Media Monks?
I was a bit later, 19 years and 8 months ago. January 25th, we're at 20 years.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations, guys. That's amazing. So after so long, to be completely frank, that's a huge amount of time. How do you see your role in your organization? What's the most important part that you feel you play? Hans?
My role is I would almost say being a father more and more of the company, of the people, of my, the Massivians, the family that I created, sort of. And it really feels that way because, the bigger it grows, the more you hang above it or so. And it's not that I'm not doing a lot except for making cups of coffee. No, but yeah, it really feels that way. And it's, you know, I'm a people's guy, sort of. I think I built the company on with the right people, and that is a very strong thing that I'm always busy with. You know, hiring and constructing the teams and the people that work for the company, and making sure that they are, you know, of course, capable of doing what they should do, but also have a heart for music and are dedicated for, you know, quality in the end result. And yeah, that is sort of my main focus within the company.
Okay, and Victor? Victor's busy.
I think it's. I think multitasking is most is most important.
You guys, for those listening, if you wanted honest answers, you came to the right place.
Talking to a guy, and multitasking is obviously one of my greatest tasks in life. Now, what I'm trying to do. So obviously, there's a couple of strategic decisions that you need to make in the company, and they need to be taken. You need to bring people on board to back you up on those strategic decisions, and you need to execute upon them to make them successful. So, but I see that as 10%, maybe in this time, because we're doing a lot internally in the company. Maybe it's now 20 or 30% of the time, but in average, it's around 10% of the time.
Okay.
I believe that that I need to be on the forefront of the business. So, for example, I've led the BMW pitch team in the last year. It was the biggest pitch that Media.Monks ever joined, and I think it's important because I need to understand what complex and large clients want. And also to prove myself to the organization, like, hey, I can still do the work, right? I'm not just here to sign off documents and have some sort of a ceremonial role. I'm here to do business, and I'm here to lead, and I'm here to grow the company. Mm-hmm. And company growth is super important. It means careers for people. It means that you can promote people, have better contract situations, and you can develop new products. So company growth is by far the number one task that I'm responsible for.
So then you don't really feel hands off, let's say, in the creative process or anything like that. You're still relatively involved.
I feel hands off. No, you have to ask my team. I don't think that there's anyone in Media.Monks that works with me that will tell you that I'm hands off. No, this is also my my biggest problem. I'm involved in too many things and until the biggest detail. It doesn't mean that I don't let people own a part. Mm-hmm. So obviously we have now 34 countries. In every 34 of those countries, there's a country lead. We have a lot of people that has a certain amount of knowledge about a capability that we have that we don't have. So there's a lot of room to grow and own for people, but hands off. When I'm involved is not really my my skill in life. No.
Hans, are you also quite involved in the creative process as well?
Yes, still involved, absolutely. Hands-on is in my name, so.
God.
But no, of course, yeah. And doing.
I know you for 20 years now. I never heard this one. Really?
My holding is actually called Handsome Holding.
Oh my God.
But so that was someone else that I take credits for now. No, of course I'm still hands-on and yeah, still involved with every pitch, like the BMW pitch as well. But that was another one for music. Back in the day, yeah, of course I'm still hands-on.
Yeah. It has a bit to do with our industry as well, right? We started for the love of the work. So yeah, we didn't start as managers.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us didn't study that as well. So it is we started because we really like the work, and then it's just cool to do that on a bigger scale. But it means if you're involved in something, there's a lot of things going around me. I don't know all the pitches in the world, and we don't have the typical hierarchy that ad agency build, that everything needs to come to the creative directors or something like that. Not every costing needs to be done by the same team, and so on and so on. So we don't have this pyramid. We have a very flat organization with clear roles and responsibilities. But yeah, if you pull me into a pitch, then I want to work on it, and I want to help create and create the most value for a client. So that is inevitable of a career in the creative industry, I think.
Yeah. Although I must correct you, Victor, I am a musicologist. So, and I think you also studied, right?
Well, not really. It was more like a really long course.
Yeah, but it just goes to show the possibilities of what you can achieve, really, with a completely different background. I mean, Hans, yours is, let's say, relatively related, but still, when it comes to leadership and all of this, I think it's nice that you guys both found groups of people that were willing to, I don't know, evolve along with you and your talents and your abilities to do things at a larger and larger scale. So I think it's a testament to both what's possible, but also, you know, the kinds of people that are out there. I think it's incredible. I'm wondering if you guys ever, let's say, go against the recommendations that you get from, let's say, fellow leaders. I mean, do you ever kind of follow your own decision against maybe the recommendations of others? I don't know, for the sake of gut or grit or data or like I was saying, a secret desire to blow shit up.
You mean within the company, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think, we're both from Amsterdam, and, you know, Dutch people know that, you know, the Amsterdam folks are a little more rebellish or so. And yeah, I think I'm the one who sort of shake things up sometimes when we have a management meeting. I must really confess. But yeah, no, but we're doing good.
Victor, what about you?
No, not anymore.
Of course not.
We did have a senior advisor or somebody in the board, and this was 2005 or something like that. And Wesley and I had a strategy that everything he said, we were going to do the opposite of it. It worked pretty well for 2 years or so. So if he said you have to do this, then we were trying the opposite. But no, it is like how I think it works currently is there's a lot of smart people in the company that know, for example, their product or their market really well. Mm-hmm. And what I'm trying to do is to connect them. So I see our company as a collective of APIs. So there's somebody running a country and there's somebody running BMW. How can I connect those two? Because not the whole world is BMW and not the whole world is France. So it needs to, and not all, the whole world needs a website. So every single project has 3 elements to it. It's a product, like a website, it's a brand, and it sits in a country. And those three things continuously need to be aligned. That changed a little bit. But yeah, that's the luxury of having a lot of good people in the company.
Okay. But you guys must have had to be, I mean, given the internal culture that you guys have built, I mean, each of you respectively, I think have built one of anybody that works for you that I've ever met. I mean, if they're massive or if they're media monks, the monks and the Massivians, like you were just saying, Hans, which I think is great. I mean, you guys have like little nations in there, you know, it's like this collective culture that you've managed to build. But in order to get to this point, you must have been incredibly protective, I'm assuming, no? I mean, in terms of like the clients that you choose and the partners that you chose and trying to, I don't know, protect the mission that you had. How did you do that? How did you know when to say no or when to choose between what's important to you and what the business needed in order to get to the next step? There must have been some critical moments, no? Maybe you have some advice for the rest of us.
With every client or job you get in, you try to make the best out of it. So in case of music, the thing that we do, a lot of people, you know about music. Everybody has a Spotify account, and so it's our main challenge a lot of times is to make the best for the brand, not necessarily the best end result. So because it's very subjective music, and everybody thinks he can brief us, but that's not always true. So to make a process that ends up with the best result, that is a challenge a lot of times for us, and also fun to do. So it's more about that, yeah. And it's also, people sometimes ask me, oh, did you really do the music for this terrible commercial? Yeah, but the soundtrack is great. So it might be a terrible commercial, but we are music guys. We really love to make the end result better through music, and yeah, and sometimes a very bad spot has a funny brief, or we have more flexibility or creative freedom to make something nice out of it. And then we all of a sudden make a soundtrack that, that is completely different than, maybe a beautiful spot that wants another Satie soundtrack or whatsoever, So for us, it's a bit different, I think.
Okay.
But but the challenge is always to come up with the best end result in music-wise and in total for the campaign or for the brand.
And Victor, what about you? I mean, when it comes to, you made quite a large decision, quite a big decision when it comes to partnership when S4 happened. I'm assuming that was a difficult choice, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, it was super difficult, but it was easy at the same time as well. If you look back at it, it is just that there were more stakeholders involved than Wes and me. But so in 2015. No, let me go back, like very, very briefly. So we started Medium with four people. In 2015, 2 wanted out, and we took private equity in. And at the moment you take private equity in, you don't have total control of your company anymore. So in 2018, the company grew with 300 to 400% since private equity came in. And they said, well, we want out. And there was a lot of interest in the world as well from the advertising holdings, as well from the consultants, and other private equity companies that wanted to grow us even more, because we were like the private equity dream case of tripling up our business in such a short amount of time. And then the whole game starts. Like you have to do show and tell, so you go around different partners. And then it's a closed envelope situation. So people fill in a number or a multiple what the company is worth. And then the private equity has a big say in it as well. So it doesn't have to be that the one that is the best partner for us has the highest valuation. Private equity goes out, just want to take the most cash out of it. While management, like Wes and me, wanted to continue. We want to have the best partner. And we magically got that together when Sir Martin Sorrell called us. And he said, hey, I heard that you're on the market, can I join? And then everything solved because he was able to take the financial part that made private equity happy. And for us is, we had the choice to go to another private equity, but there's no strategic value in that. We had the choice to go to the advertising holdings, but yeah, it is a little bit weird to sleep with the enemy and then do if everything is okay. And the most money was being offered by consultancies. But I could really not do the opening speech to all of our monks and say, people, guys, girls, I have great news. We're now Accenture monks or something like that. I couldn't do it. So this solved it. We arranged the financial side. Wes and I were incentivized by rolling our equity into S4. So we're running the board, we're running the company, and we accomplished a massive growth. We went in with 750 people in 2018, and we are 3,000 today. So it's going really well, and it brings a lot of value for the people that work for us, and we really enjoy it. So it was the most, well, there was three difficult decisions that we had to make in a period of 20 years, where things could have turned out completely different. But you need a bit of luck, because Sir Martin was in WPP for 34 years, and he was available for 12 weeks. And that 12 weeks, six of those weeks, we were, for the first time in our lives, going to market and doing investor roadshows. So, I don't have too much mathematical skills to calculate the chance of those things coming together, but it is a very, very minor chance. But if you get it presented, you need to take it, and you need to push it through. And that's what we did, and I'm super happy with that. With that choice to date. But yeah, it could have been ended differently. I could have had a blue suit and maybe my hair like this.
But what do you answer when people ask you, wasn't the idea to get away from large conglomerates of agencies? How do you present S4 in the sense of that?
We're the new alternative. So we need a bit of scale. It's super easy to be a 50-person indie, or not super easy. That's not nice. 50-person company is really hard to run, and I've done it for years. Balancing talent with clients and client dependencies and stuff like that. It was the toughest moment in my life, in my working life. But it is easy to shout if you're 50% people that all the big firms are shit. And because you can't be the solution, right? You can't run a global brand with such a small shop. So you need a bit of scale. And we always wanted that. So we started building overseas offices since 2011. And we've done it organically. And now we also do it inorganically. But we're still an outsider. Accenture has 300,000 people. We have 3,000. And we truly believe we are a better alternative for brands than the big consultancies are. So we have a fight to fight. but we also have an offering that makes sense. There's also an offering that the large brands can buy. And they're still a little bit nervous sometimes, like, oh, are they big enough? Do they have enough scale? Do they have enough presence in certain countries? So Media.Monks, I feel, should be around 10, 15,000 people to really be a true alternative for the big consultancies that we're up against. And then still we're less than 10% of their size, because I don't believe that you need all those people anymore. Tooling, infrastructure, and new approaches of doing advertising is more important than headcount.
We'll talk when you reach 15,000 people, and we'll see if you stop there. I'll park that question. I'll park that question for when that moment comes. But Hans, I mean, this must be interesting for you as well, because in what you do, there are also big names that you're up against, or like what we were talking about with composers and things like this, right? When brands sit there and say, oh, why do I need you when I can have do I dare bring up the other Hans, Hans Zimmer or something like this? But I mean, it must be quite a similar feeling for you, no?
We are, 85 people, not 3,000, not 30,000, but 85. And that's for a music house. I think we're the largest in the world at the moment on headcount, I must say, except composer pool of 250 freelance, but for a part dedicated composers. So that is also quite a big company. And of course, our product, or our, to call music a product is always a bit difficult for me. But what we deliver is, for a brand, is of course way smaller than the line of business that Victor is in. So we can handle global brands, and we are handling global brands as well. So what we turned into is a company that takes care of everything a brand might need in the world of music. And we are perfectly suited to do that for global brands, because we are in Asia, in the US, in the UK, and in Europe. And that is actually, we in fact don't want to grow with more offices. So we don't want to go to South America or maybe in Asia, another office, but that's it, but grow the offices itself. And we also have, it's the end of the year, so you always look forward as well in November and December. And we have great projections for the coming 3 years. And looking forward to building it.
Yeah, but I like that both of you seem to have at least somewhat of a humble mindset in terms of how and why you want to grow. I mean, it's clear that this is what I was saying before about you guys, is that it's clear that the way you want to do things, and it's nice to see that at both scales, like you were mentioning, Hans, you guys are at different scales in terms of size, but at both, you guys have similar principles. You seem to have similar drivers in terms of the quality of the growth and the quality of the teams and how you want things to be done. And you're still involved enough to make those decisions the right way. And I think this is why I was always saying that when I think about revolutionary leaders, if you guys manage to stay this way for as far as you guys go, which I think you will, then I think it's quite incredible. I don't
Hands-on and humble. Okay.
Handsome and humble. Okay, we'll go with that. But you guys do also do some.
We never start a company together, Victor. Handsome and humble.
But you guys also do some radical things. I will say, and this question I'm going to direct to Hans, just because I know that you kind of started this, but can you tell us a little bit about the con party that you have? And not, I understand that it's fun and I've been there and things like that, but I mean, how did it start? What did it represent for you? I know it was a big risk when you were doing it, and there was like a very strategic reason as to why you did it. And then you also brought Media Monks in as well. So can you tell us a little bit about how that panned out?
Yeah, in 2000, I started the company with the party in Cannes. And yeah, of course, it's always a big thing for us. So for years and years, I said the whole marketing budget goes into that party. But it resulted in, you know, I could walk in an ad agency in Tokyo and they know Massive Music, of course, for the work, but also for the party. And it was a great PR tool for the brand awareness of the company, and a lot of fun as well. And also, since we, of course, already worked since the beginning, actually already worked for global, for clients all over the world, it was also always good. Cannes is a very good thing to meet them once a year, you know. So because lots of times, of course, my producers, for example, they don't travel to Tokyo to see the client or whatsoever. And yeah, so in Cannes, you meet the clients from all over the world. In Cannes, we went there with almost 40 people last Cannes. So you see the colleagues from other offices, which is great. And of course, you have the best gift to give to your clients, the people you work with, to party together. And yeah, and since we you know, we give that presence to our clients, which are people that for a profession, you know, so we are trying to sell our brand, so to say, to people who sell brands for a living. So if you do that, you have to do it well.
Yeah.
So always, from the beginning, we always took care of, you know, the concept, not just a bar, beer, and a DJ, but, you know, to give a sort of extra reason to come up and dance.
Okay, all right. And then you also invited Media Monks. I mean, there's a synergy.
Well,
there's a synergy there, no?
I invited myself. First time I was in Cannes, I wasn't invited, and I climbed the fence, and Hans knows it. I was chased by a dog. So that was a disappointing start of my Cannes career. And we saw what Hans was doing there. He was punching enormously above his weight with a massive brand, with everybody that knows him. And our reputation was a bunch of nerds in a basement. So it really helped us a lot to be connected to the massive brand. And I'm super thankful of Hans, and I always tell him that during the Cannes party as well, that we're involved. It's done a massive amount of business and especially reputation building for Media Monks as well.
I mean, this is, like I was saying, this is such a different, first of all, it's refreshing to hear somebody say, you know, we decided to spend all of our marketing budget on this for years. It's risky. It's not something that people can do every day, and it's not something that people can necessarily have everyone agree on. But I think, Hans, maybe for you, because you're, let's say it's massive and only massive, and I haven't yet asked if you would ever consider partnering or doing something bigger with Massive, like what Victor has done. Maybe that's a question for a little bit later. But you know, it's interesting to compare, and sorry for comparing, but Victor, I mean, with so many acquisitions and things that you guys are doing now, you know, do you find that it's difficult to rally such different teams towards the same goal? I mean, and if so, how do you do it? I think for Hans, he's such a pinnacle, you know, he's like the father, the father figure, like he was saying, and he's really, you know, he has the opportunity to have a very focused mind, maybe a little bit clearer. But I mean, for you, it must be difficult with so many different companies that you're bringing in, Victor.
No, it's just
they have their own cultures and their own ways of working and things like that.
Yeah, so no, I get it, and it's work, right? You need to spend time on it. But see us as as just having multiple fathers and mothers in the company. So what we're trying to do, we also don't buy out the founders of the company. So what we're trying to do is a buy-in model, same as Wes and I are doing. So if we merge with it, we also don't buy companies, but we merge with companies. So that means that if we merge with a business, the management team gets half of the value of the company in cash and the other half in shares. So that means you actively need to take a decision as a management team to buy into our company as well. Mm-hmm. And by buying in, it means you become partner or actually founder of co-founder of the company. But you also have a responsibility to plug it into the bigger company. So there's always somebody who offers more money from your for your business, because we do the 50-50 deal. But that other 50% is giving you a career, giving you opportunities to grow, to play on a bigger game, and also to maximize value, because you believe that the combination of things is stronger than your company by itself. And that's what we're building, and obviously it needs time and it needs attention, and we will have a good view on what it means for branding, operational model, and so on. But we do that slowly but steadily. First, do the hard work, is that people work together, that all the people have, everybody that works with us has the same contracts, that we have everybody on the same value system, that we know what's important for the company, instead of just sticking on a logo on a wall, because that's super easy. Although I don't think that Gray AKQA did particularly a great job in sticking a logo on the wall.
It's debatable. Definitely debatable.
Great AKQA.
Yeah, but Hans, what about you? Do you ever think about what the possibilities could be to, I don't want to say follow in the footsteps of Victor, but do something similar at a larger scale?
Yeah, Vic, what shall I say?
You don't have to answer if you don't want to, of course.
No, of course I can answer. If the time is right and the partner is right, we are open to talk. That is what it is. And for now, we're doing great on our own.
Okay. Now, as entrepreneurs, because I know that there are quite a few people, based on who signed up, I could see that there were quite a few people that are also entrepreneurs. Can you guys tell me, what maybe one of the biggest mistakes you see entrepreneurs making and how they might be able to avoid it?
I thought about this one.
Go ahead, Victor.
I think there's two, like in general, and probably Hans has maybe better material. I don't know, but in general, you can make two mistakes. Is you don't push hard enough on something. So let's say you start a new business line or a new client or whatever it's new. And you don't spend enough time on it and not enough energy to really push through. So you let it go into a new team and you think it's going to be okay. So that is one mistake that I see often. Like, yeah, I thought this was going to be okay. And then it fucks up part of the business or maybe the whole company. Or it's sticking too long into something that doesn't work. Because that's the downside of being an entrepreneur. It is not that we don't make mistakes. We make a lot of mistakes. And what can you do with the mistakes? You can turn it around, or you can just say, I made a mistake and I'm gonna stop it and I'm gonna rethink it and I'm gonna do something else. So spend enough time on something that you really truly know that you did everything you can possibly do. but also step away from it if it doesn't work. I've seen people like dragging onto a proposition or a brand or something that they started too long. While the family and friends and everybody checked out already, and you keep on going, because that is the mindset that you need to have. But sometimes you need to be realistic as well and say, all right, I've failed in this part, stop it, continue, and do something different.
Hans?
Yeah, for me, the biggest mistake, exactly, you make a lot, but it's more on an organizational level, where I had 2 out of the 6 offices where my MDs, my partners, had shares. And if you want to do one company, although it's worldwide, you have to do one company, you have to do one P&L, you have to be one family, and there should not be any competition within the company. And if you do it that way, with shares that belong to a partner, also if it's a minority, a small amount, you always end up fighting the thing that brings in competition. And so, yeah, that I would have loved to have done differently, but I've solved it, so that's okay for now. But yeah, so if I may, for anyone who's building companies with, it always starts with, the company that you start in your own town, etc., etc., and then you maybe open up the next shop, or maybe even abroad, but keep everything within one entity.
Okay, I know that I have just a few minutes left, but I do want to ask, because you guys lead your own companies, and because this is such a hot topic, and I debated bringing this up or not, but I think it's important to hear I'd like to hear how you guys think, because I value your opinion so much. But can we talk just for a second about diversity? Because I think there's a little bit of a debate going on at the moment, which is, it's important for you to achieve diversity, but it's also important for you to maybe not step so far into it that you reach the point of affirmative action, saying that like, these are the quotas that you have to meet, these are the certain percentages that you have to have, et cetera, et cetera. And which kind of in its own way maybe propagates the wrong message. And so in this debate, I'm wondering how you guys see diversity and how you integrate it into what you're doing, and how you as leaders try to maybe direct others towards the same mentality. Maybe we can talk about that, just because it's radically important. I just think that there's a little bit of confusion at the moment as to what the right way of doing things is.
Very, very well. I have a very simple rule for that, and this is, by the way, and we know each other very well. And thanks for inviting me. But this is the last panel that I will be in that the 2 guests are male 40-year-old people.
I'm glad to hear it.
I'm not going to do it anymore. And Hans is a dear friend, and we play ping pong on Saturday. And I think we don't, we don't see it like that, because it's more like a video with friends. But this is a bit of the problem in the industry that we need to solve, and we solve it by giving the podium to a more diverse group of people. So it's my promise. And Maxine, I know she's here. I emailed you earlier when I got this invite, and I saw it. I said, I'm never gonna join a panel anymore. It's or I'm interviewed by myself, or it needs to be 50-50 male, female, and especially people of color need to have a platform and a podium to tell their stories as well, because that group needs representation in all parts of the business. So we have one simple rule that Media Monks lives by, and that is that our offices, wherever you're based, need to be a representation of the city, how it looks like. And not in every country in the world you have the same diversity problems. Mm-hmm. Amsterdam doesn't share the same problems as the US has or as Buenos Aires has. So you have to look at the makeup of the diversity in a city. That's one. Secondly, what we're struggling with as digital industry is the representation of women. It's a big issue. 5% of women come out of university with a technical education. So the problem starts by our government. And I know Romania is different. We talked about it. So there's a lot of more technical skilled females there. It's not the case in the rest of the world. So then we need to invest in that. Mm-hmm. So Media Monks invest in retraining women that had a different education into becoming a developer, and over-indexing on project management, UX, and so on, where we do have enough female representation. So just to give you some insight, at 2019, Media Monks were 33% female, which is in line with how the Googles, Facebooks, and Amazons on their tech departments are. We moved that up in 2020, and that's also the benefit of a growing company, until 45%. So we actively have programs to fix it, but we need to fix something which is bigger than we can fix ourselves. And that is that universities need to attract girls from schools that want to be trained as becoming a developer. So those are the two things that we do, and it means you have to do the hard work, that you have to not hire a chief diversity officer, but hire more diverse. So sorry to take the stage on this, Hans, but it's been a topic that has been very close to my heart in the last few years. And we're really fighting day by day to be that representation, because it also means we make advertising for all those people as well. So the stereotype male creative needs to disappear. It needs to be a representation of everybody that we try to reach with our commercials. So it's important for business, it's important for society, it's important for our company, and we are working very hard on that by just doing the real work in order to create a more diverse company.
Very nice. Hans, anything to add?
That was quite a statement. Very good, Victor. No, I can only say that I remember that when we hired our 15th, or when I hired the 15th employee here in Amsterdam, I had 1 woman and 14 boys. And now I just asked that same woman, by the way. Yeah, funny. And now it's 40% women and 60% men within our organization worldwide. So I'm really proud and happy because about that, because also in music, it's not completely, if we do, if we get letters in on a vacancy, it's like 80% male normally.
Yeah.
On the profession, but on the job, but yeah. It's what we have to deal with. And I really hope that after COVID, when let's hope the world will open up again and we will all have fun and events and parties and whatsoever. And events like Cannes Lions, for example, where you also, where it's difficult, where you see the white, skins. I really hope that this is a sort of break of a year or so, when afterwards, you know, Black Lives Matter happened in this period of time, that we learned from it a lot, because it is a time to reflect. And I really hope that our business in general will really, have learned. As a company,
it also means that this is the last time that that Hans and me are together in a panel. So I hope we didn't disappoint you.
Not at all, not at all. Next time I'll invite one more woman, and then maybe it'll be okay.
Very good. Very good.
But to be frank, I mean, we saw you guys all as a collective group, right? When it comes to Rebels and Rulers and the speakers that we had, and there was a wide representation of people. So we just had to pick the days so that everybody could be together. Some panels are only females, some are female and male.
Well, we know all the excuses. It's the biggest problem in the industry. And
it's like not an excuse.
Every job opening you put online, and if there's 90% male responding to it, you need to work harder in getting more applications in, or at least have spoken to a significant amount of women for that job. And I think we're both trying very hard, because as well as digital, as well as music, is not historically been dominated by female talent. Yeah. So we need to work harder on it. And the same counts for people of color, obviously.
That's really nice, guys. I think it's a nice, I realize that we're over time, and I don't want to take up any more of your time than I need to, although obviously I would have had 700 other questions that I could have asked, but thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Victor, for making the exception for us one last time. But I really appreciate it, guys, for joining and for being so honest about what you do and how you do things, and for always supporting us. I mean, on a personal level, I have to say thank you as well, for everything that you guys have done for us over the years. I really appreciate it. And I want everybody to know what great guys you are, not just as friends, but as leaders. And so that maybe hopefully more people will follow along and learn from you guys like we have over the years. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Flavia. All the best.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for joining. There are just a couple of days left of Open Branding Month, so definitely there's still masterclass going today. There's another one tomorrow, and then we still have lives until Thursday, live Q&As. So definitely join us if you can. Thank you again, everyone. I wish everyone a great day, guys. Victor, Hans, we'll talk, I'm sure. All the best to you guys, and I guess we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.